We received confirmation that Lonzo Ball has began 5-on-5 workouts, but it was also reported and hinted to that the Chicago Bulls might not have Lonzo Ball starting for them this season. I'm here to talk about, is this a good decision? Y'all know we're going to talk about it and break it all down, but you got to hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. If you're tuned in with me today, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. Now, last night, me and C-Dub, we went ahead and we did a live talking about Lonzo Ball and him moving into the next step of his rehab for the Chicago Bulls. Talked about how good it was for Lonzo Ball to start that 5-on-5 workout just so he can inch closer and closer to his return. He even talked about how, not necessarily being a starting lineup with Lonzo Ball being in there, but the opportunity to see Josh Giddey and Lonzo Ball at some point during a game on the floor at the same time, and how intriguing it will be. And it's something that we really, really want to see. But one thing that we really didn't touch on is what also came out of that report from Joe Cowley in the Chicago Sun-Times. He talked about the confirmation that he received from the Chicago Bulls on the 5-on-5, but does not necessarily sound like the Chicago Bulls is willing to give Lonzo Ball a starting role, at least for right now. From the article we had got, we're gonna read this as a quote. Pretty much what came out of the article is what he said is, what's even more intriguing is that the Chicago Bulls will be looking at Josh Giddey, not Lonzo Ball, as the primary ball handler for the team. It hasn't been explicitly said what the starting plans are for the Bulls, but it doesn't sound like Lonzo Ball will be in them. Now, I will say this. I believe that's a good decision for the Chicago Bulls. I believe that Lonzo Ball could eventually work his way back to being some type of starter in this league, if not for the Chicago Bulls. But knowing the severity of the surgery that he's coming off of with the cartilage transplant and how much time it was necessary for him to even get to this point, you don't want to rush him back out there. This should be something that you take your absolute time with Lonzo Ball, because you've already invested so much into Lonzo Ball, and only thing you've gotten out of that is 35 games. Now, when the start of the season comes, I say, hey, you can work him up about 15 or 20 minutes per game off the bench, see how he works with the squad, see how his body responds to now the action and the pace and everything that's going to entail and present for Lonzo Ball in a said basketball game. Does the knee swell up again? Does he not? Does it not swell up again? Does he feel the effects maybe in the ankles or something in the hip now? Because if my people that out there that's a little bit in the medical history, they know that once something goes wrong on one side of the body, there's some type of compensation that's going on the other side of the body, that then now that other side can become a problem now for some type of injury. So I think the plan is not to start him right away. And I think that's a good decision. Number one, I just think that it's just too many unknowns with Lonzo Ball. His health is something. The longevity of Lonzo Ball and for the rest of his career, what is that going to look like? That's still a question. And the chemistry, we know that his game, anybody can really play with the type of style that Lonzo Ball plays with. But if you place him in the starting lineup and you take away from some other guys and he goes down again for a long period of time, now you're running right back into those same type of problems that was present when Lonzo Ball was here. You know what I'm saying? We know it can be spectacular with his passing ability, with his three-point shot, with the potential of him trying to work his way back to becoming that elite defender. But I gotta go off what history has told me. History has told me that Lonzo Ball has a injury history. That's what history has told me. It told me that this guy has had problems with his lower extremities for a very long time, pretty much since he entered the NBA. And now he just took 2 years off. It's not a move that I can go ahead and feel confident about if I'm the Chicago Bulls organization, if I'm the Chicago Bulls head coaches or head coach or the assistant coach. That will not be a decision I will be comfortable with trotting them out there in my starting lineup, knowing that this is a process. He fought his ass off in Lonzo Ball, and we commend him for that. But I say, if you want to get the best out of the player, you got to have a plan. You got to have something present to where this young fella can thrive in. And I believe that's slowly working him up and then seeing where he is by the second half of the season. And I'm not saying you still make any adjustments after that. I say Lonzo Ball needs to come off the bench for the full season, for the entire season. Now, can minutes increase? Absolutely. Can roles change? Absolutely. But I think that from my point of view, my standpoint, Lonzo Ball needs to be another part of the rehab. We're going to take this thing slow. We're going to protect them. And because now, if it doesn't work out for the Chicago Bulls, at least we protect him well enough till now his career is not over. That's how we need to be looking at this. You know what I'm saying? They need to work him back into NBA shape. That's a different level. Everything looks good in 3-on-3, 1-on-1, and now 5-on-5. Especially when it's just highlight clips. They're all going to look fantastic. That's what highlight clips are clipped up for, to make everything look good. But what it's going to be telling is when we see him in live action and he's going to be banging with some of the other players that's going to be out there. He's going to take some falls to the ground. He's going to face some type of physicality. That's going to have a different effect on his body than a workout video. Is there a chance that he could possibly ever start again? Yes, there is absolutely a chance. Hell, anything can happen in the NBA. An injury can happen, and he will probably have to step up in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? If he's, available at that time to fill into some type of starter role. People get injured, things happen. So there is absolutely a chance. But when you talk about young guys like a Josh Giddey, like a Kobe White, Ayodo Sumu, I say you got options before you have to say, hey, Lonzo, you're gonna come back and be a starter. Now, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but you still have to protect this young player, not only for now, but if you want to do him a solid in his foreseeable future. Plus, if you look at Josh Giddey as being that primary handler, this is the guy you need to rely on. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy that needs to see a lot of minutes so you can make sure and ensure that he's developing at the rate that you want him to develop, and he's able to become the player that you want him to become for the foreseeable future. Because, hey, one thing is for sure. Lonzo Ball's future with the Chicago Bulls is definitely up in the air. This is a guy that you're not just going to sit out here and pay big money to again. This is a guy that might next year, he might be on the veteran minimum. Who knows? Or he might recoup a few more than that. Not even, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Because if you asking me what I would do, even if he finished the season off playing 65 games, let's just say that he played 65 games. I'm still going up to the end of that table and say, hey, bro, I give you a 2-year deal with the second year being a team option. Those don't necessarily happen like quite often as they used to. For some reason, players always have their own options in that second season. But it's a tough decision that you got to make with the business aspect. You have to consider that and talk about what has been valuable for you in this. And who's to say that Lonzo, somebody won't come calling if they need a point guard and you could probably gain some type of additional asset? I don't necessarily see it happening, but there is always a chance, ladies and gentlemen. Because if we looking at Lonzo Ball, man, look, we know what he can bring, but you got to protect him. And he has to protect himself. And then you got to protect the organization, and you got to take care of the organization with some type of foresight. The foresight is going to let me know at the start of the season how I should constantly proceed through this. And you're going to find out all the answers that you need. You're going to get all the answers to all your questions that you have at the start of the season. And say, hell, you should be able to go through this season with many, many boxes getting checked off to whether it's a good thing to keep them, a bad thing to keep them, or to simply just try to see if there's some type of thing that can happen between both sides to where it works out, maybe in some type of transactional thing that can happen between the two sides. But it's definitely a tough decision. I don't want to act like it's not, but it's absolutely a tough decision that the Chicago Bulls have to make. But I'm not surprised that right now they don't want to go into this with saying that Lonzo Ball could be a starter for the Chicago Bulls, because I think that plan begins with him coming off the bench. But that is it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to talk about some of the things that you probably missed up in Bulls world. We talked about Lonzo Ball today. So down below, go ahead and comment and let me know your thoughts and everything so we can go ahead and keep chugging along with this Bulls content. Thank y'all so much for the continued support. On your way out, subscribe to the channel. And you still got some time to go ahead and call in, state your name, leave your take, and be a part of our weekend mailbag episodes. The number to call in is 773-242-9219. Thank y'all so much, Bulls Nation. Make sure y'all see red, just as much red as I got on today. And y'all already know, I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac. Gang.